Hello, YouTube, friends and family. It is Trace Face going live from the house, trying to escape the heat. um, it's like I think it reached 110 degrees today, so it's pretty brutal out there. I'm exhausted. I've been working a lot, which is good. But I knew I had to do a video. I did one on Friday and I didn't like how it came out, so I didn't post it. Hi, Kendra. So I'm going to talk a little bit tonight, but I did really want this to be a Q&A kind of thing where you guys can feel free to send me some questions when I'm done with the little blurb I'm going to talk about today. So hi, Lisa. So hi. Okay, you're reminding me, Emily, to remind all of you, I will be in California. I'm actually going to be in San Diego in October, October 7th, I believe, to the 14th. So if any of you live in California and you're sort of near that area, I'm going there to visit my high school friend who we haven't seen each other in about 8 years since my brother and I were touring. When we used to tour, we used to stay with him out in San Diego. And so anyway, we sort of reconnected. We found out we were going to have a high school reunion, and he's not going, and I don't think I'm going either. But the people it reminded me of the people I do want to see. I want to make sure that I see them and stay in contact with them. Jose, yeah, Los Angeles, that's kind of far from San Diego, isn't it? Isn't it like 8 hours or something? But yeah, maybe we could try to do like a meetup, maybe even halfway or something while I'm there for the week. If you guys, oh, I just started a 1991 Windsor. I just got on, so you didn't miss anything. So yeah, after I kind of say the little bit I'm going to say, please feel free to start asking me some questions so I can try to answer some questions for you guys that you might have for me. Very, very interesting few weeks it's been. Those that were in my prayer and fasting group had some testimonials, to share, and things that happened while we were in the group, and even up to now, like what's going on now for all of us that were in this prayer and fasting group. Incredible stuff, guys. Incredible stuff. I would encourage those of you that might be interested in doing our next one. Thank you, Jill. That might be interested in doing the next one I'm going to do will be the end of August. And I just saw incredible results. It's hard work. Once you do a prayer and fasting kind of thing that goes on for a day's worth, you have to kind of keep up with that because it talks about this in the Bible. The demons leave, and if you don't do the work and you don't do the hard work and you don't stick to it and kind of be aware of your surroundings, they'll come back with 7 more of their friends. And this is true stuff. I've had some struggles the last few weeks in realization of where a lot of things stemmed from that I think I buried from childhood. And it's funny how they creep up on you. It's funny how one scenario can remind you of things that you sort of buried, and you don't realize a lot of why you tolerated certain things that you did. And for many of us, like myself, it did stem from childhood, unfortunately. And so I've kind of been wrestling with those demons, if you will, which is good though. That's kind of what people like you and I need to do to get to that self-discovery of what, how we can be a better person. So today I really wanted to talk about how, the narcissist is going around in life, as we know, and they are full of demons that they choose to kind of keep with them. They side with those demons. They're all on board, and they're uncomfortable thinking about them not being around because they're aiding them in their operation. And for some people, this is very far-fetched, and people don't think that this is true or that, this is real. But for others of you that have come forward, many of you that have come forward and have actually emailed me recently, shared in the comments, you guys know this to be true, right? And so the narcissist in retrospect has their own issues that they are trying to battle, but they're not battling it in a way somebody like you and I would be battling it. They're on another level. They're on another playing field, and so what's hurtful about all this, and what I want to say today, is that it really hurts me to see how many people out there have lost themselves. How many people are losing themselves on the daily. They're losing their personalities. They're losing their attitude that they were given, that they were born with, that they have inside of them. They're losing their own self-worth, their own self-value. They're depressed. They're anxious. They're thinking, they're going around in life and they're thinking that this is normal. This is as good as it gets. And if there's anything I can stress more than anything else tonight, I really need to drive it home to all of you that it doesn't matter where or what situation is going on with you. You do know the value of your worth. You really do. And somewhere down the line, somewhere something has told you that you don't. And this is as good as it gets. I don't know why that is. I hope it's not black for the rest of you. I'm sorry for that, if that's going on for those of you that your screen is black. So I just need to drive it home to all of you that you do know the value of your worth. You do know what you bring to the table. You do know who you are. And it's time that you get back to that. It's time, guys, that you stop worrying about what the narcissist is doing and you start worrying about what you're going to be doing. You have to let them go. Let them go. Let them go. It's really hard. I know. I had to fake it until I made it. And I'm on my path and I'm on my journey. It's hard to let people like that go that are battling and wrestling with their own demons, and you want so badly to help. You want so badly to help. But you're not helping them. Yeah, they do. They have such a strong grip on your heart. But you're not helping them. Enabling them, being around in their life when they decide to come and go, when they decide they're going to tell you their half-truths, when they decide, whatever it is that they want to decide. It's got to now be, it's a battle. It's a cry for your own life. And it's your life. You have to see yourself as a different entity from the narc. A totally different person. And as hard as it is, you have to cut that soul tie. Prayer and fasting is the quickest way to do it, and then you have to just let them go. You have to let everything that happened go. And I know it's hard, but they can't be in charge anymore of your emotions. I know, Casey. Listen, I'm going through the same thing this week. I'm going through the same thing. Understanding what happened to me as a child. Understanding and trying to figure it all out, and trying to say, all right, this is why I thought things felt this familiar, or that made sense to me, or that I had compassion or empathy for people treating me like absolute garbage. I also want to remind all of you that you don't ever stop until you get to the top. You do know the value of your worth. And I don't care if you have to go through 20 employers in 1 year, you do that. You do that. You do that until you are where you know you're supposed to be, until you have someone that you're working with, someone over your shoulder, someone helping you, someone encouraging you. You don't work for people that discourage you, or that make you feel less than you are, or talk down to you, are inappropriate, unprofessional, all those things. You just don't do it. You don't do it, because one aspect of your life that you're allowing it is going to actually allow it in all the other aspects of your life. You have to shut it out, cut them out. Keep going on interviews, keep putting your resume out there, keep doing what you have to do until you're in a place that you know you should be, that you have the support you need and deserve, and you're treating people exactly the way that they would treat you. If you're an employer yourself, you're a manager, you know what I'm talking about. I know people can get desensitized in their jobs too, so that's another thing, look at that. Are these people desensitized? Well, get away from them, and vice versa. If you're doing the same thing, you need to switch fields. It's okay. It's okay. Life's going to go on if you switch fields. I'm walking, talking proof of this, and I'm more happy than I've been in years because I did something like that. And so I want to just drive that home to all of you guys, that you do know the value of your worth. Yeah, and and Heather's right. You can't talk to them. You can't talk to people that are putting you down. You can't have them in your life. You can't allow it any longer, guys. It's time. It's time. I always say that. It's time we all face the truth together, and it's true. It's time we got to look at ourselves too, And it's not the way the narc was trying to make us look at ourselves, and all the things that they were trying to point out. That wasn't the picture. I'm talking about it's time we take a good, long, hard look at what we can be doing to make our lives incredible, and screw them completely. They didn't care about you guys. I'm sorry, they did not care about you to go and do the things they did. So it's just time. It's time to let it go. Let it go. And I will support you with that. And I am telling you, I do think that we found an answer to this. And I have the people that were in my group saying the same thing. That there's all these narcissism channels out there. There's all these people talking about narcissism. Everyone's coming on the block now. Everyone's an expert in narcissism, right? And that's all right. That's cool. Be careful who you're watching, because I've seen some recently and I can tell right away they're a narc. I'm not even, you watch who you watch, but be careful where you're getting your information from. Having said that, I do talk about prayer and fasting and deliverance and spirituality, and I'm telling you, for those of you that might not believe, or you might not be open to it, contact me at tracefaceit@gmail.com. I'd like to get you part of this so you can see for yourself. I think we found an answer. I really do. I really, really do. And that's why I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to keep doing these prayer and fasting groups. So I'm going to leave this open now for you guys to ask me some questions that you might have going on. And I'd like to be able to help you any way I can to answering what's going on with you, what's going on in your mind. How can I help you? And please don't forget, guys, to like my videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, comment. All those things help me spread this message about narcissism awareness and how we're going to put a stop to it. And you guys are helping me put a stop to it because you're doing all those things. I get a monthly report from YouTube and I see how many people are sharing my videos. You guys are really helping me. So please help me continue this great work. I really appreciate it. Physically, what are the telltale signs of a narcissist and facial features of a narcissist? The first thing that comes to mind when I think about a narcissist is that something isn't adding up. Yes, Emily. Yes. I'm going to try and remember to answer that in a minute. The answer to that, though, is yes. Yeah, the first thing is that something is not adding up with what they're saying to you and their facial expressions. And it comes and goes. At first, they mirror you. They mirror, yes, Melissa, they do visit you in dreams. Yes. I know this to be true. It sounds crazy and nuts, but yes, they do. Typically, when you're having your first few encounters with them, which could actually go on for months into a year, they're mirroring you. They're studying you just like an actor would study for a role, and they are picking up on when you smile, what you talk about, what you like, when people that genuinely smile, do you ever notice their eyes actually smile too? Their eyes kind of go up. You see the creases. It's a genuinely like happy look. Narcissists don't have that. Narcissists sometimes are side smilers. Smirkers, they smirk. Their eyes, you'll see it in photos. You really see it in photos. The photo captures that stinking moment that you see the true self. So you're seeing it. They have a very fake laugh, and when they do laugh, it's usually at the expense of others, and it's like this laugh that you never really heard before, and it comes out of nowhere. Narcissists are charming, typically good-looking folks. Satan uses them. Satan finds the good-looking folks to use. And if they don't have the good looks, they got the charm, and the charm really will do the same thing for you. It will creep right in there and get you in that realm of thinking that they're wonderful, and you're bonding to their creepiness. You don't know it. The overt narcissists are very into going to the gym, putting on muscle. It's interesting, they'll put on all this muscle, but you won't ever see them use it when push comes to shove. And a dude is actually trying to pick a fight with the narc. Watch and see when if they're actually gonna use their muscles for a fight. No, they wouldn't, and they would not defend you either. So it's quite interesting. They won't have, yeah, exactly. They are cowards. They won't have that ability to do anything with it. They don't do any type of sports, kayaking, martial arts, anything like that. It's just about going in the gym, putting on muscle for others to look at the muscle. It's not about anything else. So we're talking about physically. You asked me the question, physically, how can you detect? The covert narcs are very intelligent. A lot of them are, they're scholars, they're educators, they're all throughout society. They are the ones wearing the three-piece suit, being the hero in the newspaper. And little does anyone know, when they come home, they're an absolute crazy monster. So physically, yeah, that's really the telltale signs. And always knowing, yeah, clenched teeth. Yeah, because they have such contempt. Yep. Yeah. They look their nose down upon people sometimes. Sometimes you'll catch certain things when you're out in public. They're going to come out with really crappy comments to other people. It comes out of left field. They insult people. They are socially inept. They, the moments in time where you're going to see their true integrity, which they don't have integrity, when you're supposed to have integrity is when you're going to see that they don't have it. They lack it. So, yeah. All right, I had another question, I believe, from Emily asking me about if anyone had any demonic attacks during our prayer and fasting. Yes. Yes. A few of us did. I warned the group that that would happen, and I haven't had a chance yet to talk to some of the members. We're still talking to one another after the group as well to keep in touch. And I haven't had a chance to see what everyone's answers might be to whether or not they're still experiencing that or if they're having temptations and back and forth kind of thing. And again, I've talked about this before. This is not to go around and say every time you get tempted, every time something goes on, it's Satan. It was Satan. You know, we can't go around blaming Satan. But there is a distinctive way to know when you're being under attack. And I talked about this in the group. There was a whole few days dedicated to talking about when you know you're under a demonic attack and what that looks like. And so, again, if you're interested in doing one of these groups with me, I'd really encourage you to sign up. I'll get you signed up, and you're going to discover so much about yourself. And no matter what happens, it's a positive experience. You just have to be 10 steps ahead of it. You have to be prepared. Yeah, I had a woman in our group, a tree fell on her house. A tree fell on her house. She came home and there was a tree in the middle of her house. And she was trying to quit some pretty heavy things during this prayer and fasting. So talk about throwing her a curveball when she's trying to do good in her life, you know. Somebody else asked me about dreams. Can they visit you in dreams? Yes, and this happened to one of the other women in the group. Hadn't dreamt about him, hadn't talked to him. All of a sudden, he showed up in her dreams, and the next thing you know, she wakes up and her phone had all these missed calls and texts from him. Hadn't heard from him in a long, long time. Yeah, because she's in the middle of a prayer and fasting and she's trying to break him off of her. She's trying to break that trauma bond, that spiritual soul tie that we talk about. Yeah, this is true, real stuff, guys. I know it's for, like I said, you know, in the words of Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, I don't know what it is. I've been watching a lot of him lately. He makes, you know, just learning more about him, watching all of his old episodes, and he really makes me want to be a better person. And I just think that he was an angel walking amongst this planet. One of the things he said is, you should always strive to help people. It shouldn't be a strive to be rich and famous. You should start out trying to help people. And if you become that through helping people, then that's great. That's the way it was supposed to be. But it shouldn't be about that. You know? And so, and I just love that. That is so true. That is yes. And his other quote that I always talk about in the channel was, anyone that would make you feel less than who you really are, that's true evil. That's pure evil. So, I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'm going to leave it open a few more minutes. If you have some other questions, I'd love to be able to answer them for you. I don't know if they were coming. When I think, sometimes I tend to like look around and it's hard to do two things at once. Sherry, you're right. We should all be like Mr. Rogers. He knew that helping children was the key, you know. And I thought about this, like how do we educate children that the poor things have narcissistic parents? How do we help them in school? How do we educate them that, you know, just because mommy and daddy do these things doesn't mean we do? But that is the answer. You got to start from when they're kids. You know? Yeah, you know, I always look for help from you guys in ways that we can fix things. I really mean it when I tell you guys that I think that in this community, I found an answer with getting delivered, at least, from that tie that you have to this bad person. And it's real stuff, you know? So if you guys have some more questions, let me go back here and see. Yeah, you know, some of them have how do you deal with a narcissistic daughter? All right, so this is your child. How old is your daughter, if you don't mind me asking? She's 30. Okay. Well, she's at a prime age right now. She's an adult. And Evie, yours is 20 years old, so you have a narcissistic daughter too. You know, the best advice I can give anybody in regards to a narcissist within their family, now that could be your child or your parent, yourself, or a sibling or whatever it could be, grandparent, you have to establish major boundaries. And just like you would be in a relationship with you know, an intimate relationship with someone, I always say the greatest path towards self-care is being able to say the word no. No. You have to be able to say no. You have to put the brakes. All right, well, you know what, Evie, if she won't speak to you, that's her problem. I go through this. The silent treatment that could last sometimes, God knows how long, when they don't hear what they want, when they realize you're on to the crap and the dysfunction. Yeah, you know what? Because nobody needs to tolerate disrespect and dysfunction in your face. No one needs to tolerate it. So you have to be able to put the brakes and say no. I know it's hurtful, guys. I know it hurts like hell. I know that, especially if that's your child and they are completely blatantly ignoring you, and then they have a child and that's your grandchild that they're keeping you from. I know, I get it. Believe me, I get it. That's horrible. And that's a way that they're controlling you. That's a way that they're continuing their abuse and taking it out on someone. They can't look within, guys, so they got to blame somebody else. I know that setting boundaries when you've been raised otherwise is difficult. I know that. But that's the only way you're going to survive, guys, and have any sort of peace and freedom back into your life. And that's what narcissists take away from you, is your peace and freedom. I worked with a beautiful woman this afternoon, and I told her that. I said, when you crawl into bed every night, you thank the Lord God. You thank him. Thank you so much for giving me peace and freedom. And when you've got the narcs, you know, controlling things and being rude to you and mean to you and ignoring you and all this stuff, you're living in terrorism mode all the time, and you don't know what's coming. And, you know, and it affects all avenues of your life. I know, I get it. But don't forget, yeah, of course, it's the demons inside of her that are nervous, because you see them. Guys, I'm not even joking with you. I had a shirt on at my show the other night with a picture of Jesus on it. I said to myself, I have a shirt of everything else you could possibly imagine, and the most important thing I should be walking around with is a picture of Jesus. You can't imagine the amount of people that were uncomfortable by it. It was actually really funny. I was laughing to myself, and it actually drove a few people out of the club. so awesome, guys. It's just so awesome because I know I sound crazy when I talk about this stuff. But there are people that are really walking around and they are the Antichrist, and they do not like anything having to do with Jesus because it terrifies them. One of them's a photographer. I don't even, just so ridiculous with what these people have allowed into their life and where they're at and how much they hail Satan, and they don't even realize it. But anyway, you know, Jesus has got nothing to do. I always say this, like, Jesus has nothing to do with religion. And if you got to know him and you got to read scripture, he's not a misogynist and all these things people go around and say, and the Bible's misogynistic and all kinds of caca. Yeah, I don't even, you know, some of these people are too far gone, but I can do my part in sticking up for my God and what I know to be true by just representing him. And it's funny, my sister-in-law said, why don't you put him on like all your clothing items, like put him on your socks, put a face of him on like your back, like on your, you know, on your headband. I said, that's a really good idea. And I said, I bet you people from my channel would buy that. So you know what? That's a good way of fighting back with this stuff, this evil stuff. Yeah, so anyway, right? I think it's a great idea too. She said that the other day, and I said that is brilliant. Yeah, there's a way we can fight back with some class and some pride, you know, and not give in. So I know that many of you out there are suffering. As Heather just said, you know, yes, put on the armor of God. Put on your armor of God and fight back. Todd, that was really funny. Todd's always good for the jokes on here, which we all need. We all need to laugh more. You know, I've been getting back to my silly self. I used to, everything was funny. I was the class clown growing up, you know, and I'm finally getting back to that. So, so my friend is texting me right now. Hopefully, maybe she got out of work early because, we were going to go to dinner tonight. I love all of you. And, yes, Archangel Michael, that's awesome. That's so cool. Saint Christopher, Archangel Michael, Padre Pio. That's another one that you could get like statues to put in your room when you're trying to sleep. A little statue of them, so that you can sleep in peace and keep those demons out of your dreams. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this tonight with me. And I hope to continue to try my best to getting rid of this in any possible way we can. And I think that's bringing all of us good people together to find one another and to beat this the right way. I am Trace Face. It's time we all face the truth together.